You're listening to the Creatorpreneur Podcast, Episode 3, and today I'm sharing my 5 favorite mindset hacks to monetize your gifts. So, stay tuned. Hello, my name is Rodney Washington, author, artist, and entrepreneur, and I'm passionate about helping creatives just like you do what lights you up and make a comfortable living while doing it. Each week, I'll be sharing timely business growth, marketing, and mindset hacks and interviews with courageous creative entrepreneurs to inspire you to get paid for your creativity. So grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and enjoy today's show. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by my free audiobook and PDF, Get Paid for Your Creativity, 57 Ways to Monetize Your Gifts and Create True Security for Yourself. To get your hands on a copy of the free audiobook and PDF, go to getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57ways-gift. So welcome back to episode 3 of the podcast. I'm so glad to have you here. If you listened to the first 2 episodes 1 and 2, I'm really hoping that you haven't had a chance to hear it and that you're now listening to day 3 or episode 3, I should say. I'm glad to have you here. And I also excited to hear what you might think about the podcast or what you're thinking about it. If you'd like to share your thoughts with me, I'm really active on Instagram. I'm really working to build that area up as a way to communicate with podcast listeners. So if you would like to communicate with me on Instagram, hit me up at instagram.com/creatorpreneur podcast. And the link to that is inside the show notes for this episode. And I'll be telling you about the show notes at the end of the episode. So you can do that. So I'm very excited to be with you today on I keep saying day 3. It's actually not day 3. It's episode 3 of the podcast. And I'm really glad to be here with you. And I wanted to talk about the freebie that I have for you. As I've been mentioning on other episodes of the podcast, I have a free PDF and audio ebook that I designed for you called 57 Ways to Monetize Your Gifts. And you can get a copy of that. I've shared the link at the beginning of the episode and how you can get your hands on that. So I was thinking about some of the things that I wanted to share with you, sort of my highlights, the things that I, in particular, really took a lot of inspiration from that particular PDF or that little ebook that I put together, which I wrote quite a few years ago. But I was going back through it and I just wanted something that would be motivating. It doesn't give a lot of strategies or really it's not a strategy-based book. It's really more of a mindset, what I call mindset hacks. Inspirational quotes, things to sort of just kind of keep you motivated. Because as I said at the very beginning of starting this podcast, is that I feel that as creative entrepreneurs, period, we can focus a lot about strategies and the things that we do mechanically to run our business or create our business. And I feel, as I've said at the very beginning of the podcast series, I feel it's very important for us as entrepreneurs to take care of ourselves. And that includes our mental and emotional abilities and to be able to just to stay upbeat and present so that we can do all the things we need to do logistically and mechanically to create and grow our business. So inside of the 57 Ways PDF and audiobook, you're not going to get lessons on how to put together a Facebook page or how to write a blog post or anything of that nature. Those things I'll talk about and share in other trainings and other things I'll be talking about in future episodes of the show. But the focus I wanted to get with you today about really focuses on taking care of yourself and the mindset that you need to have, which would behoove you to have in order to help you go through the steps you need to go through to create your products and create and grow your business. So I was looking at, I have, like I said, 57 ways. I call them 57 keys to monetize your gifts. They're really short little quotes. And I was going to just give you 5, but it was really hard for me to pick just 5 from the 57 that I gave you. So I'm actually going to give you 8. But because I really felt like I just couldn't seem to narrow it down to 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share 8 of them. I'm going to give you 5 and then 3 bonuses. And of course, to get the remaining, 49 or so, go to that website I shared, getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57 ways gift. And you can download and get the other 49 ways. Plus you can get the audio iteration that goes along with the PDF. And the way I suggested to use this is just to check in it once a day, or once in the morning, it can be in the afternoon, or once in the evening, and just use it as a way to inspire yourself to stay on task and to stay with it. Because again, growing a business and creating a business and growing a business can be challenging. And more than anything, the way we take care and nurture ourselves goes a long way towards helping us to stay the course as we go through the steps and the processes of creating and growing our business. So as I said, I initially planned on sharing 5, but I'm actually going to give you 8. And again, to get the rest, just go to that website and you can download and get all of it, plus some audio to accompany everything. So what I wanted to start with was what I call 57 ways or 57 keys. And I'm going to just go with the first one, which is the very first one, which is key number 1. Monetize Your Gifts, key number 1. And it reads, be willing to try new things. Allow them the space to fail, course correct, and try something else. Don't fear failure. It's not as bad as you think. And if anything, every so-called failure only means that you're one step closer to the success that you seek. This is the thing and the reason why I felt this was one of the first keys I have in the book, and why I wanted to start with that for this particular episode, is anything that we do, anything that we try, no matter what it is, we're always at the quote unquote risk of failure. And oftentimes that stops some of us from even trying to begin with, because who quote unquote wants to fail? There's a podcaster that I really enjoy listening to. Her name is Amy Porterfield, and I was very inspired by her over the years. I've listened to her podcast and seen how she's grown it. And she actually has an episode that she did recently where she talks about her intention to fail 100 times in 2019. Now, at the time when you're listening to this, assuming that it's still 2019, this was the year in which she posted that. And I'll share the link to that episode of her podcast episode in the show notes. For this episode, what I found really interesting and quite profound about her decision to make the declaration that she was going to make a point of working towards failing 100 times this year is not because, quote unquote, she wants to feel or be perceived of as a failure, but that it would get her into action towards the goals that she sought. And she was making the decision that it was more important for her to go for her goals as opposed to worrying about failing and not going for them at all, or doing it and feeling bad about herself because she didn't make it. The point is that it's not about whether you hit the goal or you make the goal. It's the fact that you get yourself in action and you do something, because the reality of it is not everything that you try is going to quote unquote fail. And then failure in and of itself is only by your definition. It's not anyone else necessarily putting that definition on what it quote unquote means to fail. So, for an example, if you set a goal for yourself this year to start let's just say a side hustle, and whatever that may be, and you decide, okay, I'm going to start a side business or a side hustle for this year, and my goal is to make $10,000. And you do it, and you only make, let's say, $3,000. Are you a failure because you didn't make the other 7? Or are you a success because you actually did something, you put yourself out there, you learned what works and what doesn't work, and you actually did make money? Now, no, you didn't hit the quote unquote goal that you set. But the point is, in what I'm saying here, is you set the goal. No one else set the goal for you. You set the goal. So it's not to say that you should diminish your goal, but set a goal for yourself, get into action towards the accomplishment of that goal, and then look at your results and see where you can course correct and then keep moving with your goal. And you would be much better off, in my opinion, having done something, started that side business, if you will, if you want to label it as that, and you hit 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, whatever the amount of dollars is that you do actually make. And again, maybe that fell short of what you told yourself it should be, but it doesn't mean you failed. Now, someone might look at that and say, well, that's a failure. But again, only you can tell yourself it's a failure. Only you are labeling it that. What I'm saying is that it's important for us to be easy with ourselves and, do set the goal. I mean, set the goal. Do not set a goal because you're afraid you won't make it. Set the goal and know that you're going to do what you can do. You're going to do what you're going to do, and you're going to get a result. So in other words, your goal should really be get a result, not necessarily measure it by a number in this context that you set that then determines how you feel about yourself because, well, the way you feel about yourself, whether you hit the goal, the quote unquote goal that you set or not. So making a decision, getting into action, learning what you need to learn in order to move yourself in the direction you want to go, then going and then looking at the results. So say you set a goal, say this month, and this is April of 2019, you're going to set a goal this month by the end of, say, 2 weeks, you're going to have a brand new site business going. And your goal this year is to make $10,000. Let's just keep it something really simple like that. So you start, let's say April 15th, you start, and then December 15th of this year hits, and perhaps you only did $1,000 or you only did $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000. But again, you didn't fail because you didn't hit the $10,000. You didn't fail at all. You did something, took action, and you collected intel. You collected information that you can then use to look at what you did and how you can course correct. If you choose to, you may decide, I did it and I made some money, but this isn't really the business for me, or it's not the business model for me. You can't learn these things or uncover these things until you get into action. That's the emphasis of this point, is to get into action, to uncover what really is the result of your actions and of your efforts. And then you course correct as necessary, or pivot or change or whatever you want to do. But again, the focus shouldn't be on, if I don't hit this, I'm a failure, which is attaching an emotion that really diminishes your self-worth. And that's not really the direction that's best for you to go. It doesn't do anything to keep you going. Because if you're setting everything based on conditions that you really can't control, then you're going to be in a constant state of feeling bad about yourself, because if you set things that you can't predict, your feelings about yourself will always be in question based on whether or not you hit the result or not. So the focus should be willing to try new things, intentionally, quote unquote, fail. I don't necessarily like to use that word because I think it's all about taking action and measuring a result. But if you want to label it failure, okay, label it failure. However it needs to happen to get you to move on things, just take action and move on things, get the information that you need, and then course correct as necessary. So that is Monetize Your Gifts key number 1. Okay, my next favorite quote from the ebook is Monetize Your Gifts key number 12. Shepherd the people that come to you. Oftentimes, in our never-ending quest to find new clients, we forget to take care of the ones we already have. Your clients come to you for more than the product or the service you provide. They want support, coaching, advice, hand-holding. Shift your thinking from being a salesperson to a service provider whose sole purpose is to look after your flock. You do this, the more people that will flock to you. So what inspired me about that particular quote is, depending upon the service offering that you have or the business model that you have or whatever it is, you're going to do what you're going to do to get yourself out there and to market your business. And yes, you will get clients and you will get customers and so forth. And, if you're providing a product and a server or a service that people actually want, and you're good with people, and you have a good pricing, and you know how to present your offerings and create a sale. And that's wonderful. That's the first step of actually monetizing your gifts. But what I see a lot of times is we're focusing on trying to get more and more people to work with us or to purchase our services, where I feel like that can be a missed opportunity. And to me, where the missed opportunity is that it's been said in the business online marketing world, or I think just in business in general, it's far easier to sell more services and products to customers who've already purchased things from you than to go out and find new ones. And I don't care what kind of business you have, whether it's a retail space or if it's, brick and mortar store or whatever it is, or an online business. Once someone has established a connection and a rapport with you and a trust with you and for you, it is far easier, I believe, to offer more things to them and eventually get them to purchase more items from you than to go out trying to create that level of connection and trust with someone who doesn't know you yet to purchase from you. Now, the purpose for me for doing this, in my experience, is twofold. If I have a client or a customer that I'm taking really good care of, and I'm making a point of taking really good care of by, doing what I say I'm going to do, give them the service that I've promised I'm going to provide, under promise and over deliver, provide good customer service, be able to make it easy for them to connect with me, to handle any kind of issues that they might have, just basic good customer service. If I focus my energy on that, they are going to actually help me with getting new customers, because those people that I have spent the time nurturing and taking care of, and not just focusing on just trying to sell them more things, they're going to actually talk about me to the people in their circle that are like them, that would want what I have. So the reason for doing this is twofold. One, it takes a lot of the pressure off of you, even for marketing budget and marketing effort, to find new people, because your existing clientele base is actually talking about you. And word of mouth, really, nothing sells or moves a product faster than word of mouth. I don't care what it is that you're selling. Word of mouth will always work in your favor if you commit to providing. And the only way you can get good word of mouth in either direction, whether it's glowing or whether it's scathing, is all going to come from how you service the people that you currently have. So what I say about that is focus on taking care of those people, providing good systems in your business to provide good customer service. Follow up. If it's nothing more than just an email or a quick phone call or a text message, or if you have their physical address, drop something in the mail, a little handwritten note or a postcard or whatever, depending upon the service that you have or what you offer. If it's a higher ticket item, you can send something in the mail like a little gift. It could be like cookies, or it could be brownies, or it could be a gift card. There's a service called Send Out Cards that I like that can automate this process for you. Just taking those extra little steps, which can be so simple, but those extra little steps can go a long way towards solidifying an impression with your current customer base that you're someone that actually cares about their customer, that cares about them. And those, in turn, people will evangelize you and talk about you to their circle, which, in my opinion, that reduces your marketing budget and effort, because someone coming to you because they heard about you. I mean, if I'm looking for, let's say, a web designer, there's millions of web designers in the world, I'm sure. But if I don't know anything about that service and I'm looking for a web designer, if I go to someone whose opinion I trust and they tell me about your service, I'm most likely to check you out, at least, over me trying to find someone on my own. I'm going to I'm going to take at least their opinion of you at heart and check you out. And the likelihood is that if I like what I see and you're, a good person to work with, easy to work with, and what all the criteria gets met, the likelihood is that I will hire you. So don't underestimate the power of referrals. I think quite frankly, they can kind of get a little whatever. People sometimes don't always rely on referrals, but I think referrals are still very powerful. I built both of my businesses on referrals. I do really no advertising. Most of all of my business, all of my clients have come from some kind of a prior relationship with someone else, not me going out advertising for business. So don't underestimate that. And the best advertising you can get is good word of mouth. So take care of the people that you have, and they'll take care of you by talking about you and bringing more people into your circle. Okay, this is my next favorite. Monetize Your Gifts, key number 16. Whenever you make a decision to change something or go for something bigger in your life, for the better, you can always count on what I call the DF twins to make an appearance. Now, DF is short for doubt and fear. The secret to handling doubt and fear is to not ignore its existence, but expect it to show up. If you want to keep doubt and fear from wrecking your mental house, it's critical to keep them occupied with something distracting, like perhaps gifting yourself an hour of TV or taking in a movie, or talking to a friend, and assuring them that you'll come back for them. In other words, you must acknowledge their presence and not pretend that you're not afraid of something. Once you do, their power will diminish. This one I feel is pretty self-explanatory. I don't care who we are. I don't care what we all have our threshold for fear. But I think all of us at some point can doubt ourselves or question our abilities or question, can we really accomplish something that we want to accomplish? And so it's human nature for doubt and fear on some level to show up. And what many people get stumped by, myself included, is that we try to pretend that the doubt and the fear doesn't exist. And by doing that, you're actually giving oxygen to those emotions, which allows it to breed, and eventually it erodes and eats away at your confidence and ultimately your ability to take action on what it is that you want to accomplish. So the first way to not allow that to happen is to first acknowledge the fact to yourself that I'm feeling doubtful about this, or I'm feeling nervous about this, or I'm feeling afraid that I won't be able to do this. Acknowledging it does not mean that you will give into the emotion, but it's acknowledging that the emotion is real, it has presence, it has meat, it has weight, and that by acknowledging it, it's like you're shedding light on it. And what you're doing is you are negotiating with it, so that again it doesn't get in and seep into sort of the bone marrow of you, if you will, of your resolve. By acknowledging that you are nervous about something or fearful about something, or that you're avoiding something. Say that you say you're going to maybe call someone that could be a potential partner for you, maybe someone that can partner with you on Instagram or social media, or whatever, some kind of a connection with someone else, and you feel that they're way above you, and why would they actually want to help you, and you don't have anything to offer them, and whatever litany of stuff that you could be possibly telling yourself that will erode your confidence in the effort to take action. And once you can acknowledge that you're avoiding taking action, then you can say, okay, listen, I know I'm avoiding making this phone call. I know I'm avoiding sending this email. I know I'm avoiding whatever, fill in the blank. I'm acknowledging that you're here. I'm acknowledging that you're trying to keep me safe, keep me from making a fool of myself or making a mistake or wasting money or losing money or whatever it is. But I've looked at the situation and I don't think that I'm going to lose big if I do this and the person says no to me. My pride might be a little bruised, but I won't falter because the person says no to me. And usually that's the worst that's going to happen, is they're just going to say no to you, whatever, if you're asking someone else to help you in some kind of way. But if that emotion is still taking a lot of control, you can say, listen, this is where you negotiate with it. I'm going to go ahead and send this email, or I'm going to go ahead and make this phone call, or I'm going to go ahead and do whatever the thing is I'm avoiding. And I know that the doubt, the fear, the avoidance, or whatever is here to protect me, to keep me safe, to keep me from, quote unquote, making a fool of myself, or whatever, however you want to label it. I'm acknowledging that that's the purpose that you have, is to protect me. But what I'm going to do is I need to do this action, take this action. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to basically kind of let you go over here and chill out. So in other words, if you are just really struggling to get yourself to take action, and you know that it's avoidance or doubt and fear that's creating that, and, maybe look at what your avoidance of choice is. Maybe it's, watching TV or watching Netflix, or I've always heard the saying that if you want to know if someone's avoiding writing their book, look at how clean their house is. So usually when there's something that they know they need to do, or they've been saying that they want to do, we'll start distracting ourselves with something else to avoid doing the thing that we say we're going to do. So instead of trying to avoid it, say, listen, I'm going to go and do this thing that takes me away from the thing that I don't want to do, the scary thing, for 30 minutes or an hour. I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to let myself have that and get sort of the monkey off my back, so to speak. And then I've got to come back after that time, and then I've got to go do the thing I said I want to do. And to me, I think that's a much more effective way to deal with those emotions that can stop us, by acknowledging what we're really feeling, which is some confidence about ourselves. We have created an avoidance pattern to be able to take that fear away. We're going to give ourselves permission to partake in that avoidance strategy that we have, but we're going to put a time limit on it. We're going to say, okay, for 30 minutes, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go watch Netflix. Or for 30 minutes, I'm going to go do something else. That is my typical avoidance thing. And then after that, then I've got to go and make this phone call or send this email or whatever I need to go do. So again, the gist is don't try to fight with yourself to make yourself do something. Just negotiate with yourself. Understand what you're feeling. Notice what your avoidance pattern is. What your thing is you do to avoid doing that thing. Give yourself permission to do that, but bargain with yourself that I'm going to give myself a time limit on what I'm going to do to avoid this thing, and then I'm going to go and do it anyway after a set amount of time. All I can say to you from this point is try it and see if it works for yourself. And if you do, go over to Instagram. Again, it's at Instagram.com/Creatorpreneur Podcast, and share with me in the DM what you did. I'd love to hear about it. And if you actually want to be featured on a future episode of the podcast, go to getpaidforyourcreativity.com/talk to me, and you can record yourself telling me what you did. And, if it sounds good and everything works out, I will possibly feature you on a future episode of the podcast. So let's have some fun with this. Try it and see what happens. Monetize Your Gifts key number 24. Design your business around the type of lifestyle you want to live. Not working yourself to death and accepting whatever little moments of joy or fun you can grab, but spend time thinking about how you want to spend your days. How are you dividing your work time, your play time, your family time? Where are you living, on the ocean or in the mountains? What are some of your personal goals? Do you want to start a family, spend some time outdoors engaging in physical activity? And I provided a complimentary worksheet that you can actually get on the show notes of this episode. It's called the Ideal Work Lifestyle Template. You can access that to help you go through this exercise. So this is really simple. And as I mentioned in episode 1 of the podcast, I have started to see where various online entrepreneurs are shifting the service offerings that they provide. I've seen people who were focusing on just one-on-one coaching, but selling at higher end prices or switching over to things like membership sites or continuity programs. I've seen people offering continuity programs or membership sites switching over to only affiliate sales, selling affiliate products. I've seen people completely change direction in terms of customer base and who they're selling, the market that they're selling to, and definitely what they're selling. And I'm seeing this as a trend happening more because this is my real honest to God feeling about the online marketing and online entrepreneur space is many people have chosen a model that they personally really believe in works for them. Let's say selling courses. There's a lot of people selling online courses. And so for them, the model that they believe in, that they want to offer as their offering that they for the service or the product that they sell is how to create an online course. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm not diminishing or talking down selling online courses. Whatever business model that you choose, it comes with its own set of issues and things you have to navigate through in order to provide that service. I'll use membership sites in the context of some of the recent changes that I've seen. I've seen 2 people actually close down their continuity program / membership sites. The initial motivation was that they wanted their recurring income, not having to go out and chase a new client month after month. But with a continuity program, one of the things that a lot of people don't really know about is you have a lot of maintenance when you're managing a continuity program. You're usually running some kind of a forum or a Facebook group, and you have people that are asking a lot of questions and they're looking for support. And even though in theory they understand, or maybe you've shared or told them that you're not going to be the one answering every question, people will still expect their questions to be answered. They're paying every month to be a part of this membership community. And what they're really looking for is support from you, the creator of the program. So what it does in a sense is it keeps you attached to always needing to be present and in the group and always addressing questions. And sometimes personality conflicts can manifest themselves from group members not getting along, and those things have to be squashed immediately or they'll erode the motivation of the group. So there's maintenance things that have to be addressed when you're managing an online membership type community. Depending upon the size of your community and how big it grows, that can be a lot of massaging and navigating and putting out fires and digging up landmines and so on and so forth. And so what could happen is that you could find yourself actually with a model that maybe in the beginning it seemed like freedom because every month those recurring payments got charged and you didn't have to go out and find a new client to make that money every month. But the length of time it takes for you to manage the group and everything that comes with it can become overwhelming. So some people have chosen to close down their continuity programs because they didn't really understand that this was all going to be a part of choosing that business model. Now, again, I want to be really clear. I'm not saying do not start a membership site, don't do a continuity program. I'm saying, I'm not saying don't do a course or courses are bad or anything of that nature. What I'm saying is that you have to understand that whatever model you choose, there's going to be certain conditions and issues and processes that are going to have to be negotiated and organized in order for you to be able to have that business model work for you and not, in a sense, enslave you. And sometimes you won't find out what those issues are until you've gotten into it, until you've been doing it. And you see what you've created. It's all in how you set it up. So again, I'm not going to say that membership sites are bad and don't do them. I'm not going to say that one-on-one clients are all bad, don't do that. I'm not going to put down any particular model. You have to look at what you want for yourself, how you want your day in and day out to run, how much availability you want to have for your clients, your business, and whatever it is, and how much you want for your personal life. I think if you start from that first and get clear about that, then you can match it up to the business model that will work for you, as opposed to you trying to build a business based on what's popular or what's being pushed or sold a lot. And then you buy a program and you build this business, and then you realize that you're a slave to it. In a sense, what you've done is you just created a job for yourself. And that's not why any of us do this. We don't want to create another job for ourselves. Quite frankly, most jobs, or some jobs that you would find, would probably be a little bit more forgiving than your own business, because at least you have a chance of getting 2 weeks of paid time off. But when it's your own business, it's all on you. So again, I think that this is a real important thing to think about and to emphasize as you're thinking about or planning for the kind of type of business that you will have. Ultimately, you will be bringing other people to help you with the business, so you won't be doing all of it yourself. All that has to be factored into it as well. But again, I always say you never go wrong with going from the place of this is how I want to live. This is where I want to live. This is how I want to spend my time. And I need to pick the best business model with the best resources that I can put together to help me manage it, so that my life can actually be about living a full life and not just running my business. And my next favorite key is key number 55. Make it a goal to spend at least an hour a day outside in nature getting fresh air to rejuvenate the mind, body, and soul. This can sound, again, maybe cliche. I don't really know. I don't really care. What I like about that is, I know for me personally, and this is the number one reason why I chose this as number 5. For many, many years, since I've been working for myself, I said I do pretty much all of the things online in my business for my clients and for myself. And I found myself spending, quite frankly, 7 days a week, sometimes 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day on the computer all day long. And I actually developed an issue with my lower back several years ago that really was something that really scared me, because it was in a situation where I couldn't really comfortably sit at all. I couldn't even lay for a long period of time. My back was in excruciating pain. And I had to figure out something to do to get myself where I could physically be comfortable. And I won't go into all the details of it right now. I'll probably talk about this in a future episode. But what I ended up doing was running into someone that was in a networking group that I was in at the time. And I had gone to the beach or the ocean where I live here I live in Santa Cruz area of California. And I was in such pain. I was sitting in my car. It was like, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I hadn't slept all night, and my pain, my lower back was just seizing up, and it was horrible. And so someone in my networking group happened to be walking by where I was parked, and she could see the distress in my face. And she walked up to, just to say hi and ask me how I was. And she could tell I was not doing good. And she said to me, I told her what was going on. And she says, have you tried just walking? And I was like, well, no, I can't really sit. I can't really lay, whatever. And she said, walking will help to reduce some of the pressure. And I said, well, I can't lay down. I really can't even sit here for a long period of time. I'm like, what the hell, anything to help diminish some of this pressure on my lower back. So I did. I got out of the car, and she walked with me for a little bit. And she said, just walk as far as you can and then turn around and walk back to your car if you feel like you need to. And I did. And that practice actually, about within, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks, the pain had diminished by 50%, maybe even 60%. And I'd say within a month to a month and a half, I didn't have any of the pain at all, because it was at the point where the pain was shooting down my hip and down the back of my leg. That's how uncomfortable and how bad it was. It was like a needle pin. And it was in that moment when I realized that I had been sitting so much on the computer, so much, working so hard. And I live, like I said, I live in a beach town. I live in, in a beautiful area. People spend money to come here for vacation. And I'm in my little office on the computer all day long. I never really went outside and enjoyed where I was living. So me getting out of the house to go for walks, and that eventually helped me with the back issues. And I haven't had any more. I've had a few flare-ups every now and again, but nothing as bad as what that was several years ago. And what that taught me was I don't want a business where I have to be on my computer all day, every day. I love what I do, but I don't want to spend my life just on the computer all day, every day doing this. And so I need to be able to have my life or my business set up in a way that it works in my ability to be able to get outside, to get fresh air, to get exercise, to take care of myself. And it's not just physical, but it's mental, it's emotional. You need that separation between what you're building to be in the moment and be present and take care of yourself. And that's why I feel like this was the best one to end this episode on, because I felt like it's something that we as entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, however, or self-employed, however you want to label us, we tend to really take for granted because we're so busy on the hustle, on the grind, trying to make it all happen. And while I understand and applaud and I get it, you've also got to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to have a business. So again, I really want to emphasize that you choose a model that's based on taking care of yourself. And yes, of course, you want to have a business that makes money. You want to have a business that you enjoy, with customers you enjoy working with. But you've also got to make sure that the number one customer in your business is you. And if you fall down, there is no business. So it's important that you do whatever you need to do, however you need to rearrange your life so that you can take that time to take care of yourself. I'm not saying you need to be in a gym all day. I'm saying, if it's going to yoga, going for a walk, getting out, playing with your kids or your pet or whatever, do something. And now that we're moving closer to, we're now in spring and getting into summer, this is a great time to do this. Make a point of setting aside time for yourself to get away from the computer, away from your desk, and get that vitamin D on your skin and get some air and just switch up your environment. And especially if you're doing an online-based business, find some kind of way to get in front of people in real time. We need that in-person interaction with real people and not everything being video online. I love all the Facebook Lives and all of that stuff. I love all those things, but nothing takes away from skin to skin, touching, talking, and connecting with people in person. I think it helps to bring fresh perspective to what you're doing when you are working from home. And I believe it helps you physically, mentally, definitely emotionally. And I think it's imperative. To me, it should be a non-negotiable. So those are my 5 recommendations. So I'm going to go back over them again really quick here. So it was key number 1. Key number 1, be willing to try new things and allow yourself the space to fail. Key number 12, shepherd the people that come to you. Key number 16, whenever you make a decision to try something new or go for something bigger, you can count on doubt and fear to show up. Have a plan to navigate and deal with that so it doesn't stop you. Key number 24, design your business around the type of lifestyle you want to live. And key number 55 is, you're 55. I keep missing that one up. 55 is make it a point to spend at least an hour or more a day getting some fresh air and nature, get out in nature, rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit with getting some exercise. Now, what I've decided to do for the remaining 3 bonus tips that I wanted to give you, I'm actually going to put that in the show notes, which you will find at getpaidforyourcreativity.com/003 for episode 3. I'm actually going to put those bonus tips inside of that blog post. I decided I'm going to do that instead of recording them inside the podcast because I don't want the podcast to really go on much longer. I think it's around 45 minutes. I want to keep it around that time frame for you. So I'm going to put those there so you can find those bonus 3, my favorite of the 57. You're going to find it inside the show notes at getpaidforyourcreativity.com/003, and there you'll find all the show notes. So that wraps up episode number 3 of the Creatorpreneur podcast. Again, to access the rest of the 57 keys, 57 tips, go to my website at getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57ways-gift. And I will see you on episode 4 of the podcast coming out soon. Again, feel free to, if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or Google Podcast or whatever you're listening to, if you enjoyed what you've heard in the first 3 episodes, I'd love it if you'd leave a review if you feel so inclined to do so. It only helps me get better with the show. If you would like to connect with me on Instagram, do so at instagram.com/Creatorpreneur podcast and send me a DM. I will be there answering questions if you have and addressing them. And I'm so excited for this new project, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you more in future episodes. So this is Rodney Washington, your host, signing off. We have entered the age of creative self-employment. In the new economy, people are creating true security for themselves. That's why I believe there's never been a better time in history to monetize your gifts. So if you're ready to take control of your financial and creative future, I have something for you. It's my free audio and PDF program, 57 Ways to Monetize Your Gifts and Create True Security for Yourself. And you can get that at my website, getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57ways-gift.